Hello and greetings. This is
Hello is a greeting.
Woo. Hello and greetings. This is Every Horror Movie on Netflix, the show where we watch, review, and discuss every horror movie on Netflix. And I'm Chris.
I'm Patrick Flying Dunn.
That's Patrick Flying Dunn.
No, Flying Dunn. Hooah! Hooah!
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm just Steven today. As
all
ever.
right. Well, maybe we'll all have nicknames next time.
Someday.
So, guys, it's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a rough week.
We're not going to talk like politics or sexual harassment scandals or anything, are we? Is that what you're hinting at?
No,
Okay.
but now that you mention it, it's been a rough week for all kinds of
That's
reasons.
what's been on my mind. Certainly not this movie that we're reviewing today.
Yeah, I'm just trying to beat around the bush, but we watched American Poltergeist this week. So who wants to set up this movie?
A group of college-age students wants to get off campus for a semester, focus on their studies, not get distracted by the party lifestyle of Brown University, the college that they all attend. So they rent a palatial home in a suburb, Fall River.
They got a great deal on it.
Got a great deal on it.
$325
Per room.
The only downside is they have to live with a MILF.
They do have to live with a MILF.
I would not call her a MILF.
She joins
Yeah, I was going to say, who would like to?
I would not.
I just want to know who would like to.
I would not call her a MILF, but if you Google MILF, I'm sure you see people that look like her.
Yeah, she joins them for
I
every
hope they have
meal.
more personality.
That's fair.
Unfortunately for them, the house is haunted.
By a ghost, presumably, and not a poltergeist.
Not a
from what I
poltergeist
can
at all.
tell.
What I want to talk about is what the difference between a ghost and a poltergeist is. That's what I was going to ask, because I don't
I
even
will
know.
fucking educate you.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Everything I know comes from the Very Scary Almanac, which was the book that I read religiously when I was 7, 6, 8 years old. And a poltergeist, to my understanding, is we think of a ghost as a deceased being given spirit form. Mm-hmm. A poltergeist is more a projection of emotion that creates noise and havoc in a house, and often they're tied to people living in the house. For example, you might have an angsty teenage daughter who's stressed out about boys or is going through puberty or something, and then her anxieties will manifest themselves as dishes flying out of the cabinet and stuff like that. So you can have a poltergeist, and it's not like a ghost, it's just
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, strike one for this movie is just calling it American Poltergeist in the first place. Because when you put American in front of the movie, you sort of assign it this great significance. And I mean, there are some great well-known movies that American Beauty, American Hustle, American.
We've got to rethink American Beauty now, but yeah, that's a good example.
I mean, okay, we're not going to nitpick about it.
Yeah.
I can't call
American Beauty is still a great fucking movie.
It hurts.
It's still a great movie.
It hurts. I mean, should we go down that road at all?
I don't know that we should, but
why not?
It's more interesting
go.
than this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Why don't we just go down that road?
I think the question we want to ask is, does being a sexual predator mean that you're not a good actor? The answer is no.
Oh, is that what we're talking about?
I've never thought he was a great actor.
Oh, I think Kevin
he's
Spacey's
so
a great
consciously acting in everything he does. It's like acting with a capital A.
Is that what you guys were talking about with American Beauty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we just talked about how we weren't going to talk about the news.
Oh,
we were
is
going to
that
talk about
the road we're going down?
Yeah, but
Okay.
now that American Beauty has come up, this has been heartbreaking for me because Kevin Spacey has been
Is your father
my role model for a long time.
Really?
Because I will never be as cool as Clint Eastwood. I'll never be as cool as Arnold, but I might be as cool as Kevin Spacey someday. But not anymore.
I think
don't
that you
aspire to
can
be
now
like
officially be cooler
Now I am
than
cooler
Kevin
than
Spacey.
Kevin
I
Spacey.
think most of us are.
But yeah, it's a depressing but necessary turn of events, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that doesn't... The fact that he's a sexual predator doesn't change the quality of any of his past films, though.
But
in my book.
That's a
True.
movie that's pretty. I mean, it's difficult to.
It's difficult not to see it in a new light now because of his behavior,
Well,
because of
it's-
his character's behavior in the movie. I see what you're
It's
saying.
difficult to watch his character behave in that way anyway. That's one part of
Right.
the emotional impact of the film. And now it's like, Jesus Christ, like he is that kind of guy. Like
That's true.
Is that how he got the role? Like,
Ugh, yeah, that does take on a weird new significance. I didn't think of that.
well,
What would the movie? Yeah, I guess then the question is like, would the movie? I mean, because the movie does work really well with him playing that very uncomfortable character. Would it work as well with a different actor who isn't actually a fucking predator in real life?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that movie works very well anyway. I don't think it holds up too well. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, with a different actor, I'm sure I wouldn't have that problem with.
I mean, I
was
think
actually-
that there's certain roles where probably being a real sexual predator makes you better at that role. Just like being a real murderer would make you better at being a murderer, and that's unfortunate, and that doesn't excuse
I wonder if a murderer has ever played a murderer in a movie. That would be interesting.
I'm sure.
Dude, just wait till Christian Bale kills somebody.
Yeah, that would be relevant to what we're talking about. Wouldn't it?
Or any other thespian.
This has been
No,
quite
doesn't he in American Psycho?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
another great
But he
film
was not
with
a
American in the
murderer
title.
when he filmed the movie.
Well,
the point
if-
is like having that
the questions
like,
keep getting
experience in
bigger,
your
though.
life.
If
Well,
you,
it depends on how you define murder.
Yeah. If you are you only a rapist?
There's actors who
after-
have killed people.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick killed somebody.
What?
Yeah, he like ran someone over with his car.
Oh.
I
Or
mean,
something.
intentionally or
Not intentionally, but I think he might have been drunk. Hold on. I better fucking before
Okay,
I lie.
well-
I mean, yeah, Matthew Broderick is not in prison right now, so this can't be as dramatic as you're making it
Hold
sound.
on.
Well,
all this
We're
is
gonna-
to say
we're gonna
this
cut this
movie
down.
is so fucking worthless that we're talking about current events instead of discussing it. This is the definition of beating around the bush.
Yeah, I mean, it's ludicrous that it takes on this mantle of the American title.
It's
like you gotta
absurd.
earn that, you know.
I mean, it doesn't. It couldn't. It shouldn't even be the Rhode Island Poltergeist.
Well, look.
Like, it's just the Fall River.
Is that where this takes place?
Yes.
All I can say is American Poltergeist, stay away from me. Let me
Oh,
be.
American. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm making an American woman
We got it.
reference.
We got it.
Just-
Did you find out about Matthew Broderick though? Is Matthew Broderick a killer? But then there
If
was
that's
the
not,
case
like-
of Matthew Broderick and the car coming up after the break.
On True Hollywood Story.
No, dude, this is Keith Morrison.
Oh, okay.
The DNA.
And coming up after the break, we'll talk about the DNA.
Well,
Oh, that pesky DNA.
he said he has no memory of the entire day, and he was driving in the wrong.
was
He
Wasted.
lost time.
And he was driving in the wrong lane and hit someone head on. But the Wikipedia
Was he
doesn't
drunk?
say. It doesn't say.
Matthew Broderick.
It was
the
in
voice
Ireland.
of Gary, Indiana.
It was in Ireland. So
the Music Man
the
himself.
music man himself.
I mean, the thing is, what I'm really trying to think right now is of something called American that's actually shitty besides this movie. There has to be something, but all the things I'm thinking of are like generally fairly well regarded, like American Psycho, American Beauty, American Hustle, and I mean, I know Chris
American
and I could
Horror
debate
Story.
American Hustle. American Horror Story is generally well regarded. American Woman,
American Pie.
American Beauty, the Grateful Dead album, American Pie, American Idiot. I mean, basically all this shit is fucking iconic.
Yeah, if you're going to take on the mantle of America, you have a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this movie representing our country. I'll just say that.
Although, unfortunately,
Everyone
it
in this
does,
movie
probably,
is
in many ways.
incredibly stupid. In a
Alright.
way that they're just like not even functional, even as friends. Like as a group of friends, I don't buy
Let's
that
break
these
it
people
down.
would spend
The
time with each
acting
other.
is terrible. The premise makes no sense. The relationships between characters are confusing at best and boring at best.
Is there? I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't cut it off. But speaking of relationships, is the two girls who sleep together? I assumed they were a lesbian couple immediately.
They
but
are
they're-
not.
They're
They aren't. No. Yeah, I mean, and the people that they chose to be this proto or quote unquote stars of this movie were the worst choices.
I mean, the MILF Chris mentioned, has anyone looked up her resume? She has to be a porn actress.
No, she's
right?
not.
She's not?
Way to be misogynistic.
But she can't move her face.
She can't move her neck either. Do you know that scene where there's a noise upstairs, and she
has to
literally
turns her
whole chair back? It takes her like 10 seconds.
She's weird. It seems like she has some medical issues.
No, but don't you guys know what I'm saying when I say she seems like a porn actress, though?
Well, I already
said
said she's what you get when you search MILF.
True. Yeah. Way to be misogynistic.
All right. Well, look. Here's what we're trying to say. Let's not beat around the bush. This movie, I don't even need to ask anyone's cue it, view it, or screw it. This movie was fucking terrible. But what, Steve? Are you about to object?
Steve's like, I say view it.
I was not about to object. I was going to say I kind of, like, within 5 minutes, I was like, I kind of think I might end up giving this movie, I predict I might end up giving this movie, like, a cue it, because I feel like it's going to be so bad it's good. Like, that kind of, no, absolutely not. This is trash.
This is maybe the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
It's worse than all of our other screw it.
Yeah, we need to give apologies to all the other movies we've watched on this journey so far.
Yeah.
Are we going right to view it, cue it, or screw it right now?
No.
What's happening?
No,
we're
saying it's not
talking.
even necessary. We just gotta get this over with. We're not
done.
saying screw.
I mean, okay, this movie is an hour and 18 minutes long, and I would say
that's an hour too long.
30 of those minutes are completely pointless dialogue that doesn't land.
Oh man, the dialogue in this.
Okay, I have an example. I might as well play it now to get it out of the way. There are so many scenes in this movie that begin and end, and you are like, what? What was the purpose of that scene? Scenes in which nothing happens.
Nope.
If you cut out all the scenes in which nothing happens, you'd probably have like a 20-minute movie.
Probably have like a third, yeah.
Here's an example. This is about a minute and a half. This is deep into the movie, and you're going to hear some references to characters. You're going to hear some things like, oh, she has a car, she can do this. You might think, oh, well, they're setting that up for later. No.
Doesn't matter.
None of this is
matter.
a setup for anything else that comes in the movie. But this is a typical scene from this movie.
Come in. Michael and Nikki are fighting again. What's new? Are you in for the night? Yeah, I'm exhausted. I just want to go to sleep. What are you researching?
Nothing. She doesn't tell.
And we already know at this point, too.
Where are you really going to go? Back to campus? New York?
Good question.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, she doesn't want to talk about
Nobody
it.
wants to talk about anything important in this movie.
Nikki's friend Stacy has a car. She drove here tonight, and I don't think she's staying the night, so maybe if you let her crash on your couch, she'd give you a ride back to New York. It's too late.
Oh. Now you see a spooky thing like is watching them through the
sorry.
window.
I'm just trying to help. It smells like a musty old library in here.
And that's it.
Favorite lines.
No, I mean, to me, the pièce de résistance of that scene is, what are you researching? Like, who's that? She's on her computer.
Why does she have to be researching?
Yeah, what? Like, I mean,
that whole
if I
scene is
see you
useless.
guys on your computer, that's not my first. Oh, Chris, what are you researching
Well,
on your,
now I'm
on
gonna
your
say that-
laptop computer there?
I'm going to say it all the time
And
now.
I think one of the things that really struck me is, like, typically in a horror movie, if there's a ghost or poltergeist of some sort, you're getting clues about its goal or what it looks like or something like that as the movie goes on, right? You're hearing noises, you're seeing more detailed shapes, you're seeing things that it does,
Yeah.
you know? In this movie, it's none of that. It's random shit until the full fucking thing appears just randomly one day.
It's just like the cash register bangs open out of nowhere. There's so much. One thing that drove me. This movie made me. I told you guys earlier. This movie made me infuriated on so many levels. One thing that drove me nuts was how many times you hear like a knocking somewhere in the house and nobody ever learns that it's a fucking ghost. Just like that. They're always like, "Who's there? Come in. Oh, I guess I should get out of my dead sleep and go see who's in the house. Better carry a flashlight, even though the power has not gone out." That happens numerous times.
And the MILF is like, it's the wind.
One of my favorite lines of when they first get to the house, the guy, the lead actor, the guy who like secures the apartment, who I think was on coke through his entire production. Like, there's so many flubbed lines, like weird shit that he says, and like his delivery is like way off. He's like, I need to go in the basement because I want to store some sporting goods down there.
Yes, I wrote that line down too.
She just says, "There's no key. It was locked when I moved in." And I'm probably putting more emotion into it than she did in that scene.
No, okay.
All right.
The way I wrote down the line, though, which is even funnier, I don't know which of us got it right, but I had a different variation, which was, I'd like to move some sporting equipment in, if possible.
If possible. Is he writing an email?
There's so many great... my favorite dialogue in this whole thing comes from the church kid, because we learn that there is a church kid who met one of the other kids in church group, and he talks about how he goes to the church all the time.
Hey, that pays off. That pays off. We'll get into that.
He literally wears like a huge cross around his neck in multiple scenes, and we see him like putting a huge crucifix on like a cork board in his room of the house. But oh man, I wrote down so many great lines from this kid, but I think I'm going to go with, this is my favorite one from Church Kid. And it's like the end of a party night. They're around a bonfire. He gets up and like stretches and goes, "I'm youth mentoring at the church tomorrow, so I'm going to call it a night." He keeps referring to the church.
Yeah, nobody...
church.
Well, I mean, he's Catholic, so it is the church.
Yeah, but you refer to the institution of the Catholic Church as the church, not like your church as the church.
Ooh, guys. Did you hear that thunder?
I think it's an American poltergeist outside.
That was spookier to me than
That was pretty spooky.
anything in this movie.
We might lose power. And we cut
do we
this
have our
episode
flashlights?
short.
Oh, quick, everybody, view it, cute, or screw it.
Well, listen.
Before the power goes out.
All right,
kidding.
Hold on. So, yeah, it's terrible. And
Wait, hold on. Let's ask the resident Catholic. Would you, if you were going to church to youth mentor, Elizabeth, would you say, "I'm going to the church"?
No.
I think it's a very...
I would say, you fuckers know I got church tomorrow morning. I can't go to the grocery store.
I don't know. I think of all
I gotta
the
go
lines,
deal with some little shits at church.
Of all the lines you could have picked, I don't know. That one doesn't offend me.
No, but
I mean...
well, it didn't offend me, but it was just weird how he kept saying the church over and over again. I mean, let's not nitpick the lines that each other
No, in
thought
fact,
were
all
funny.
right, so listen, here's the thing. Before we just go way off the rails on our pile on this movie, which is bad, I think we all agree. I did some research. I've kind of got some context here. I found the director's Facebook page.
Oh.
So if you'd like to see what he looks like.
Oh, please. That's the director?
That's the director.
He's a baby.
That is the director circa...
Wait, does he play Michael?
Oh, what a cute
No.
little nerd.
Just kidding.
No. Yeah, I mean...
Oh man, that's thunder.
Wow.
That is amazing.
It is thunderous
That
here.
is not special effects.
I hope the
folks.
recordings pick that up. Anyway, these are some more recent pictures. But he's a young guy. He's a young guy, and he's basically a PA in California.
Prolific PA, too. He's
Prolific
working
PA.
some big shit.
He's worked on the only movie worse than American Poltergeist, Dark Knight Rises. And he went to school at Los Angeles Film School. And so, I mean, this is like indie. So...
Sub-indie.
Does that
sub-indie.
mean we should cut it slack?
Oh, I feel so much worse now that I've seen his picture. I'm totally changing my opinion. Good job. What's his name?
Mike Rakowski.
I think-
Not as effective at eliciting screams as Mike Wazowski.
Look, you guys. I think
Damn you!
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Monsters Inc.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So good. So good. Dank.
Anyway.
Elizabeth, please.
I don't think that a person seeming like a nice guy who's trying hard should mean we should cut him slack. If I made a horror movie, it would be ass, and we should.
Well, look,
A
here's the
thematic
thing.
link. A thematic link. It's just like Kevin Spacey. Should we judge Kevin Spacey's movies on the fact that Kevin Spacey's a piece of shit in real life? Should we judge Mike Wazowski's movie on the fact that he's kind of an innocent guy just trying to make a goddamn
because he made
movie?
bad decisions. He cast these. He wrote a stupid plot. I'm not like, if it was just bad acting, or if it was just like, oh, it didn't all, like, the jump scares didn't land or something, fine. But like, if you're directing these kids to do this stupid ass shit, then you're directing kids to do stupid ass shit. Doesn't matter if you're 12 or if you're 25.
Thank you. That's exactly how I felt.
This movie isn't. you do an autopsy on this movie, and it becomes what not to do if you're making indie movies on this budget.
I learned a lot.
I actually did.
Number one, put license plates on your cars. Did anybody notice that?
That's another low order concern. But like, I'm not mad at the movie as much as I'm mad at Netflix. You know,
one of the things I wrote down as I was watching this was, how do you get a movie on Netflix? Like, how did this get on Netflix? I want to know.
We should investigate.
We should.
Because you know what? If this were playing at the downtown community theater and it was made by someone with a similar background who just happened to live in our neighborhood and we saw it, we'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
we
that's
wouldn't
so
have,
true.
such a vicious reaction to it. But it's on Netflix next to, It Follows. And Netflix has enough money that they don't need to be scraping the bottom of the barrel with this shit. So I'm mad at Netflix.
I mean, Chris, you and I made like half a movie that we kind of aborted.
Right.
And I don't know. Our movie was better, right?
Well, it didn't get finished.
True.
So,
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, we made something that is, I guess, of Netflix quality, whatever that means. Like, I feel we could have gotten...
Yeah, but you have to see it through, I mean, so that's another thing I can say for him. As shitty as it was, hey, they got something. Their Facebook page has 1,200 likes.
Fuck you guys. Elizabeth and Steve are casting shade over there.
Every horror movie on Netflix has 69 likes, and they have 1,200 likes. So, hey, they're doing something right.
The lights
are
just flickered.
Flickering right now.
Oh, fuck. The Poltergeist is here. Dude, it's Mike Wazowski.
You know what? Can we just get through the, we gotta view it, cue it, screw it, even though I feel like everybody knows how I feel, so we can just talk about the spoilers.
Yeah, let's just do it, because
else.
I'd like to talk more.
All right, Elizabeth, you view it, cue it, or screw it?
Screw it.
Steven, view it, cue it, or screw it? Patrick?
Screw it, but I don't know that I would call it the worst thing we've seen so far. I think I probably actually hated and was repulsed by like #horror or 13 cameras more than I was by this.
Wow, interesting.
Wow.
I say screw
Fuck
it.
you, Chris.
I thought about screwing it with Prejudice, but no, it doesn't. It's just a bad movie. It's not like a mean-spirited movie.
Yeah.
The director's not malicious.
That's probably what you're saying, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think I screwed those other movies with Prejudice, because like they made me feel shitty about myself and about human nature. But this was just like something that didn't work out well, and I actually probably got some entertainment value out of it.
I'll say this.
I laughed.
I'll say this. If I knew every actor in that movie, I would have very much enjoyed watching this film.
Yeah,
if this was like a neighborhood film, I would have enjoyed it.
And that's why I'm not mad, because you know what? Like, we didn't produce the damn film. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I spent some time on it, but that was, this is what I signed up for, right? Watching every horror movie on Netflix. So
I hold no malice towards this movie.
No.
I mean, some of the other movies, I was like, fuck you for making this shitty movie that's like shitty about people. But I mean, this movie is just like, you were trying to make a horror movie and it wasn't very good and it wound up on Netflix. I'm almost sorry to this. I'm sorry to this person that we're talking shit about their movie. I hope he never hears this.
I hope he hears this, and I hope he comes on the show.
I would love to talk to him.
Me too.
Yeah, I would too.
One thing I want to say about this movie, so I did say it made me very angry. I think it's not shitty. It doesn't have like a shitty, like misanthropic view of humanity, except that it presumes that human beings, brown university students, don't have any fucking imagination or social skills or anything else. I find that kind of offensive. But this is a movie where the basic premise, you would expect a lot of TNA and a lot of gore, and
It's G-rated.
Does not deliver on that.
It is G-rated.
Characters do coke in it. There's some hard
that's
drugs,
true.
but you don't see any nudity. The only gore you see is corpses they're corpses. They're already dead, and you see a little bit of blood. I can't hate the director for like wanting to make a pretty clean horror movie.
There is like the constant threat of TNA though. Like these girls are constantly in skirts that barely go. I don't know if anyone ever wears something that covers like more than an inch below their crotch. Like it seems
the boys
like
are always wearing shirts, and that disappointed me.
A porn is constantly about to break out. I was so puzzled by that.
I wonder if the director has a religious background, because I thought it was pretty interesting. Even though Michael and Nikki are dating, they have separate bedrooms at this house. And they clearly make
weird.
They make this religious character a big part of the, like, he's the only one who has any distinct personality. Like, he's religious, and that's his, like, and I wonder if the director himself maybe has some like evangelical background or something, because that, like, are we in spoiler space now?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Well, anyway, there's some things at the end that make me wonder that as well.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck, sorry.
It's back.
I'm sort of
It's back.
thumbing through his Facebook to try to answer that question, but it kind of feels invasive because this is a personal Facebook page I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
But-
kind of creepy.
Well, is there anything that has Jesus?
There's a passing reference to keeping faith, but I don't know if what.
Yeah.
We
I wanna
should
say
tag
something.
him in all our social media posts. I want Mike Rosowski to come on the show and talk to him, and all of us just be like, "Fuck, Mike, we're sorry."
Yeah,
Good
I'm
job.
just sorry. I feel
want him
bad
to
talking
fucking
shit about this
school
movie.
us. I want him to be like, "You fucking assholes! I poured my blood, sweat, tears, and money into this shit, and this is how it went down, and this was my intent." We'll be like, "Fuck, Mike. All right,
I
sorry."
mean,
yeah.
Mike, we're all really nice people. You'll like talking to us. You'll
Yeah.
enjoy it. It'll be a
Mike,
positive
come on the
experience.
show.
Come on, Mike.
Okay,
I want
you
to say
guys,
something really
please,
quick,
you
though.
guys are being too nice.
Hashtag draft Mike.
If we hadn't Facebooked him, I would be like, fuck this movie and fuck the guy
Well,
that
that's
made
because
it.
you watch
But now
this-
I see it. I see the human, and I look at his credits. I'm like, he means Bill. But I want to say something really quick.
And honestly, good for him for getting his movie on Netflix.
He got his movie made. He got it on Netflix. I'm not convinced that he didn't actually make a porno, and we're just seeing the G-rated version of it. You know what I'm talking about?
It's like Three-Headed Shark Attack, except
Exactly.
in reverse.
I would be not at all surprised to find that we are just watching. Actually, this movie would make a lot more sense if this were the case. That we're just watching like the nudity-free version of
That's
this
so
movie.
true
Yeah.
because all these conversations that make no sense, like maybe after that clip that Chris played, there's just like
They
a crazy
fuck.
lesbian sex scene.
That's hilarious. I'm pretty sure that's just fan fiction, but but
it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense.
It's the
if it
most
were true.
sensible slash fic ever written.
But at the end of the day, some people had fun, some people got paid, and hey, it wasted some of our time.
I mean,
but-
honestly, I will say, had someone asked me to be in this movie, I would say yes.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, there's some cute boys in it. The beautiful people across the board, except for the owner of the house. Like, hang out with them, deliver some shitty dialogue,
Whatever.
probably mediocre craft services. You're not going to regret it.
I would rather
Good
be in
time.
this movie than in 13 Cameras.
Me too.
Oh, for damn sure.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hash things out in more detail, spoil some stuff. So
Won't take long.
So if you want to watch this movie for yourself, leave now before you end up in the spoiler room. Welcome back to Every Horror Movie on Netflix, and it's time to discuss this American Poltergeist in a little more spoiler-filled detail. And I think we could start off with maybe the most innocuous spoiler of all, which actually, it's a late revelation, but it drives the plot of much of the action, which is that this house is actually the former house of famous murderer in American history, Lizzie Borden.
Which is totally absurd because this movie, like, everyone in the movie treats this like, well, they don't find out until much later, and nobody who lives there did any research on this house beforehand. But, like, the Lizzie Borden house is a fucking museum.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you know,
probably
nobody
a
lives
national
there.
historic landmark. Like,
This is one of those things where I'm going to be really dumb and say, I mean, I register that Lizzie Borden is like a name I should know, but what should I know about Lizzie Borden? Why should I give a fuck?
let me tell you from the Very Scary Almanac, there's really nothing to it. I do know about her from the same book I know about the Poltergeist, and basically she was just a girl who killed her parents with an axe, and then they
Okay.
made a nursery rhyme out of it.
Because in this film, it's treated as though it's like the house of Jack the Ripper or the house of William Shakespeare.
Well, she is really famous.
Yeah, it's.
I know that's
it's
a famous name,
case.
but is it that famous?
I think the circumstances around the case.
very
I think it was
famous.
kind of a big deal when it happened.
It's
It
also
happened
pretty
in the-
absurd because she was young. And, 15-year-old girl.
But is it famous to the degree that, I mean, because there's zero exposition of that in the movie. It's just Lizzie Borden, you know what that is.
Yeah.
It's
Do
famous
general
enough.
audiences know exactly what that means?
Totally. Yeah, it's huge.
I don't know.
Like, I remember as a kid learning about Lizzie Borden.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think it's
such
big
an
enough.
There's
Big
like
and
a
she's
there's
like
like a
Pocahontas.
there's like a garbage
That's what you
pail
guys are
kid
telling
that's
me.
Lizzie Borden. I mean, yeah, it's
And the nursery
All right.
rhyme
It's a thing.
is Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her father, I think she starts
30
with the father,
whacks or-
father 40 whacks,
40
and when
whacks.
she saw what she had done, she gave her mother 41.
Well, in this film, Lizzie Borden, as depicted in the film, looks much more like
She's like 40. She is 41.
She looks more like a much more iconic pop culture figure to me. Every time she showed up, I was like, oh, it's Mary Poppins. It's like zombie Mary Poppins every time she shows up.
She looks absurd. Like, she looks like she's in drag, essentially. She's got that, like, ridiculous red wig and this, like, bright blue dress.
Yeah, like that high blue skirt, kind of like Mary Poppins wears, that white, like, 1920s blouse, the hair piled up on top of the head.
And Lizzie Borden was a girl. How old do we think Lizzie Borden was? I don't know,
I think
like
she
11?
was young, like in her teens.
This woman is clearly, like, in her 40s. Like the Lizzie Borden ghost.
I mean, but that's just the beginning of, like...
I know. It's hard to really hone in on what to pick apart here.
And it's so weird because inexplicably, they select this one girl to sort of be the person who is hearing, they're all hearing the weird sounds in the house, and this one girl is more freaked out than everybody else, right? And so she starts, quote unquote, doing research. And like,
what are you researching?
Yeah, and like, I didn't even really follow this part. She basically discovers that she's related to Lizzie Borden.
Yeah. Well, before we go too far down the Lizzie Borden road, let's acknowledge that that's part of the title problem, because this movie was actually all through production titled The House of Lizzie Borden, and then I guess something happened. Maybe they got sued by the museum, and it became American Poltergeist. I thought of something that isn't great that has American... it doesn't start with American. I was going to say Kid Rock's American Badass Beer.
Love that beer. Great beer. Easy drinking. Almost bought some today.
Wow.
But yeah, eventually it comes out that What's-Her-Face is, I think, yeah, she's related.
She's the Taryn, right?
Taryn is her name.
Taryn.
Which is like, every time I heard that name, I just wanted... There was another name, like Jenner. Jenner was one of the girls' names. Like, fuck you. Nobody names their kids this.
Wait, really?
Like, yeah.
Wow, I missed that.
And I thought the actor saying it was British, and he was trying to say Jenna. I was like, is this his accent slipping? Jenna. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought every time. But no, it's Jenner and Taryn.
And I think that this, like, again, these horror movies that we've been watching, just like Abattoir, have these convoluted plots that they don't need. Like, Taryn, this girl ends up, like, her father ends up being Lizzie Borden's grandson, and he abandoned her at the Lizzie Borden house, and she's truly, like, of the lineage and the close, and it's like, come on. Like, people who are settling in to watch a horror movie do not want to do this, like, family research. Like, it doesn't need to be like this,
Well, it was just very incoherent.
It's incoherent, and it doesn't add anything.
Because my first thought was, like, she's the granddaughter of Lizzie Borden.
But she's not even. She's like...
But
yeah.
Wikipedia just blew us the fuck out, because Lizzie Borden was actually, like, 32 when she killed her parents.
I thought she was a teen.
I feel vindicated, because this clearly proves that general audiences don't fucking know the backstory on this shit, which is not a slight to you guys, but another slight on this movie, treating it as like, oh, well, Lizzie Borden, everybody knows what's up with that.
But, like, she still lived at home, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, back in those days, the girls were just like...
Still had an axe, still 40 whacks, all that shit.
Well, she didn't actually give 40 whacks. That was an exaggeration in the rhyme.
I know, I was joking.
Okay. It was like 10 or 11 times for the father, and 17 to the mother.
Hold on, I've got a line I have to find. Okay, so anyway, Taryn, what is it? Taryn's birthday? It's somebody's fucking birthday.
It's Nikki's birthday.
It's Nikki's birthday. I don't know the difference between Nikki and Taryn. All these people look the same. They act the same. So apparently, actually, a question before this. Do these fuckers ever go to class? They keep talking about Brown University, and they have so many books.
Before the beginning of the semester.
It's August 4th.
Yeah.
It is August 1st. We find out later, but do they establish it
I think
early in
they're
the
trying
film?
to, like, move in and get settled before the semester
No, yeah,
starts.
you move in before the semester starts. And this whole thing takes place over, like, 4 days. So that didn't bother me.
I want to bring up a great line that, like, I don't know, maybe this movie, I thought initially maybe it's going for, like, regional appeal because of the legend of Lizzie Borden, but, like, there's one line that just kind of, like blew my mind at how bad it was. So, like, they're like, only 5 people RSVP'd at this party aside from the people over the house. Why, I don't know.
And they all come to the party at the same time.
The exact same time, and they take turns coming in the door, too. They don't just, like, pile in.
And hugging the birthday girl.
Yes.
I thought that was realistic. I guess you guys don't go to many parties.
We just don't go to many parties. That's shitty.
Okay, so all the girls go to like the guest house to change into their suits. And by the way, the German girl, whatever, the girl, MVP of this movie. She's the only person putting any effort into this, and I wanted to be her best friend.
Yeah, she doesn't give one fuck about anything. She's just like, she literally
smoking joints left and right.
She has the only like not G-rated line in the movie when she just is on her way out of the room and she's like, Lizzie fucking Borden, bitches. Or
Yes, I love that. So then
probably ad lib.
So this is where Nikki finds out, like, people keep dropping hints like, we were so scared to come here tonight, and I can't believe you live in this house, I thought you were kidding. And she doesn't question it at all, which is insane. And then we find out it's November 4th, which is the night that, like, the Lizzie Borden ghost shit happens. So there's a line where she says,
oh shit, I think this might be the same line. I hope it's the same line.
Wait, where did it go?
That I'm thinking of.
So like one of the girls says, yeah, everyone sits kind of tight on the night of August 4th here in Fall River in Providence. Yeah. It's like, thank you for reminding me of where we are, where we've been spending the last hour with you fuckers.
But the movie's made in LA. And the movie's made in California. And if you look on like the Facebook page for the movie, people are like, I've been in the Lizzie Borden house. I've slept in the Lizzie Borden house. It's nothing like this house.
I've seen pictures of the house.
It looks nothing like this neighborhood.
It's the most like idyllic neighborhood. Like even the cop's pretty friendly. I don't know what he's doing because there's no crime here.
Well, look, can I just say, and this is consistent in so many movies, horror or not, why... Apparently, as soon as you like get the privilege of directing a movie, you forget what a party looks like. Because you cannot just have a norm. Like, I feel like I could create a normal party scene for free. And like, it seems impossible to be done in all these movies these days. Like, they don't know what to do. They either go over the top, like at this party. Well, first of all, they only had 5 guests, and they're like 6 handles of vodka, and everyone's just like grabbing for it all the time. Or, like, they go, like, the reverse, and, like, people are, like, standing around awkwardly, like, great party. It's like, have these people never been to a party?
This was the lamest party, and there's, like, that, like, intense house music playing over it. I'm like, there are 10 people here, and they are all sitting. Like, this is not a wild party.
It was so weird. I just don't understand why no one can just film a scene of a normal party and use it in a film.
And I mean, this, I guess, sort of ties into the point that I've had on my mind, which may seem obscure to everyone, but there were just some weird line readings in this. And
all of them?
Originally, what made me think of this was, I'm going to throw Nikki a little birthday party this weekend.
Yeah.
There are just these weird, like, accents on lines, like weekend. Or another one was, at some point, someone goes, This is nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, one of the actors has a British accent because I saw a behind the scenes video.
Wait, is it like
it's the mic, but the like.
I knew it, so maybe it is Jenna, and he's saying
who I think said both of those lines that you referred to. But the brother who's like pissed off at Taryn all movie, he actually has like an English accent.
I knew it.
Shit.
I knew it.
Okay.
He's actually pretty good at an American
makes sense
accent.
because that's how British people they would say this weekend.
Yeah.
He has like some of the most bizarre lines too, and they're all like this like expository dialogue that tells us things we don't need to know. Like they make a big deal about like going to the grocery store, and like you have to. The thing is, every character has to have a line in every scene. So like when they discuss going to the grocery store, which doesn't matter to us, everybody has to weigh in on like why they can or can't make it, and like what time they'll be free, and where they're going to go if they can't go. So
if they're going to be youth mentoring,
and like he like Mike begins with like, so Jenner, I don't know who the fuck he's talking to. So Jenner, we're going to the grocery store at 10:30 tomorrow. Do you think you can make it? So and so's going, and so and so's going, and so and so's going, and we're taking my car, and it just goes on forever. The wildest thing about that is that she asked for him to pick up sage. Like that's something you can just get at a grocery store. Like,
what's the line about that?
Please tell me you at least remembered the sage sticks.
They didn't have any.
There's also the Jewish girl who like constantly references like how shitty Jewish mothers and Jewish families are. You know how Jewish mothers are.
This movie was so inappropriately typecast too. Like they cast like a sort of stout curly haired girl as the Jewish girl, and they cast like the requisite brown person because they needed someone of color in this movie, for God's sake. And then they cast like, it was just like,
wait, who's I don't even remember a person of color in this movie.
She like did coke and then asked if she could stay at the house.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
She just has like 18 lines of coke in front of her with those like creepy mannequin heads.
And like,
yeah, everyone has like a line of dialogue in these scenes, and everybody is trying to communicate some kind of exposition. in these scenes. It's like,
Right, they all have to have their say.
hey, Steve, I'm glad you could join me on this podcast here. You know, it's been 8 years since we met at that one party. Like,
Oh my god, that reminds me of one of my favorite scenes. So they're sitting around with the woman who owns the house for dinner for the first time, and everybody's just like kind of quiet and like sipping their wine and eating their salad with their shitty Kraft salad dressing. Like, this woman's loaded. Why is she buying Kraft salad dressing? It's like the only thing they could find. And she's like, so, how do you guys all know each other? And they all just start laughing uproariously, like, ha, 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 ha. And then it turns out there is nothing funny or interesting about how they know each other at all. Like, they go around the table to explain. It's like, oh, well, we were in class together, and oh, well, that's my sister. Like,
I mean, the Kraft salad dressing reminds me of the pop they drink. Did anyone notice this?
Yeah.
They drink Refreshe pop.
and maybe that's the local brand in Fall River.
Refreshe.
And I mean, I don't want to harp on this, but like, also they sit down to lunch one time and someone's like, "Oh, this looks delicious," and they have like a tin foil like baking pan of like burgers with just like a bun and a burger and nothing else. I know this movie's low budget and that's a bummer, but it's just like,
Yeah.
one more thing I got to bring up, just like as far as like exposition, like it feels like the director has to like guide us through every moment of these people's lives over the course of these 5 days. They spend the whole day at the pool, and then they sit around and eat their burgers, and then Mike's like, hey, anybody want to go to the lake after this? Like, you were just swimming for like the whole day. Why are you going to the lake?
That was such a weird moment too, because it felt very, there was sort of a pregnantness to that line where I was like, oh, something fucked up's going to happen at the lake. And I literally said
They
to
never
Elizabeth
go.
as we were watching, I was like, oh, that's going to be a good idea, going to the lake. Something weird's going to happen there. But there's nothing comes of that.
Nothing. No line of dialogue has any bearing on the movie.
No, they come back from the lake and they're all drunk, and then they talk about going to the grocery store. That's when that
Yeah.
happens. It's just like we just spent like 10 minutes walking in circles.
It's just
Nothing
like that
happens.
scene that we played.
Yeah.
It's like just people talking. You want to do this? No. You want to do this? Yeah, that sounds fun. Maybe later.
It's just like watching the most boring episode of like Big Brother ever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great analogy. I
That
like
is an analogy. Except
That
more
is an
shit.
analogy.
More shit happens in Big Brother.
Yeah.
Because if they go to the lake,
No, that's
the
why I
cameras
said
would
the
follow
most
them to the
boring
lake.
episode.
well,
But I mean, so let's get to the
Yeah,
actual like
let's just
horror
get to
at the
the
end of this,
point.
which is non-existent. Like any of the scares that come at the end of this movie. Like, I mean, the scene that sticks out to me is one of the girls. I forget, one of these, interchangeable female characters is standing at the like end of a walkway. Mary Poppins and the MILF are at the other end of the walkway, and Mary Poppins comes like running down the walkway towards the girl, and I was just,
That part was spooky.
Did it
that
spook
was
you?
the one part where I was like, oh, that's kind of spooky that she's running with her arms out like, "Rawr!"
oh man.
well, let me
I thought
bring
it
up
looked
a
absurd.
key.
Did nothing
Let
to
me
me.
bring up a key point. So Lizzie Borden, the ghost,
Mary Poppins.
possesses the person closest in lineage to her. She possesses their body and controls them. And so currently she's possessing the MILF because the MILF like is the like married into the family. But she's trying to possess one of the chicks because the chick is like her great granddaughter.
She's actually, the child.
The whole point of this movie is that Lizzie Borden is trying to get close to this one girl to like possess her body. What's funny?
Just how we keep calling
You
it
so
the
casually
MILF.
call her the MILF, and I love it. I love it.
So good.
So like, yeah, and so in between trying to get in to invade the body of this girl, she's killing people, and like the scene goes on for like 30 minutes.
Wow, I'm so impressed that you actually
Yeah.
processed and understood that bit of plot.
Because I was getting...
'Cause I didn't.
I was getting the periphery of that, but I didn't understand the gist of it, and you got it. Good job.
She always does. She always picks up on the minutiae of these
Because I don't watch that many movies.
idiotic plots.
You guys are all just like blindsided by all the movies you watch.
Maybe we're
Maybe.
expecting information to be presented in a certain way in a movie.
Yeah, like a logical,
Like in a
entertaining
normal,
way.
like understandable way.
Well, all right. Another pet peeve I had with this movie was the way they approached the spooky moments and the like would-be jump scares. Because whenever you see Lizzie Borden's ghost, it was always like a completely different shot. It was like someone's in the hallway, and now we like jump cut to a close up of Lizzie Borden in another part of the hallway.
And there's like a loud noise.
the music is like bam. You'd be scared now.
But they do this so many times that like maybe the first time you sort of jump, and then after that you're like,
because
I never jumped. I never once jumped or felt spooked by this movie.
No,
I can say that.
There's the one scene early on where they're in the bedroom and Lizzie Borden walks in the hall in the background, but the camera has this like it's like a post-production zoom in to the hallway.
Yes.
Like, just leave this stuff as it is. It's spooky if you can relate the spooky stuff to the scene that you're in, but it's not spooky to... Like, if Lizzie Borden just showed up in the background of the hallway behind the main action, that would be spooky, not to just cut to a close-up of her face.
And I mean, we've talked about jump scares, how jump scares... Even in a shitty movie, like even Steve, who probably has perhaps the most refined taste, we might say, of this group, like you said you still respond to jump scares, even in a shitty movie. It's just, basic, like a roller coaster kind of thing. But even the would-be jump scares in this movie just did nothing.
Which is insane, because they should be really easy to execute. John Carpenter said something that, like, if you just put like a roll of like black leader and like played it in a theater but had one white frame, you'd probably get somebody to jump. And this movie can't even achieve that.
Yeah. And I mean, the cinematography in general is another thing that really puzzled me, because it's not found footage at all. But I don't think there's a single scene where the camera's on a fucking tripod. The camera is always just like, the cameraman is constantly drunk. The camera's just kind of like always wobbling around.
There were steady cams involved, and they shot it on some sort of Canon DSLR I saw in the behind the scenes stuff. At least that was one of the cameras they used.
There were steady cams.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I have nothing more to say.
I don't either.
How does it end?
Like, is there anything we liked about this movie? Because I always try to find something positive about a movie, and I was trying to figure out ways to save this movie.
Me too.
I was trying to figure out, like, okay, what's the hook that they should have written this movie around? What should the story be? And I just had nothing.
Well, look, the premise isn't bad, right? Having 6 teens move into a house that's haunted, you could make that scary.
I mean, it's been done.
It's been done.
I
mean, that's like
but
basic.
It's been proven that you can make that scary because it's been done so many times and sometimes effectively.
What did I like about this movie? The girl who played Nikki was hot. She was so beautiful.
Yeah. She's the one who gets dragged.
I wish I could remember which one Nikki
and she
fucking
wears
was.
cute bathing suits.
Yeah, that's true.
Is she the one who's always like checking her hair in the mirror? Yeah, she was cute but annoying.
She's the one who goes to the bathroom in like the second scene for no reason. And there's like a 1.5-minute long scene where she just gets in, sits on the toilet, and
we have to listen to her pissing.
But she doesn't pull down her skirt or her underwear.
And then someone like knocks on the door, and she's like, "Would you give me a minute?" And then that's the scene.
Yeah,
she can't get out.
She was so cute.
The door
Loved
handle
her.
is stuck.
She was a terrible actress. She seemed nice though.
So that's the one thing you liked about this movie.
That's it, man. I really don't. They all had nice cars too.
They were like, I was like, I bet you anything the director of this movie owns like a Ford dealership, because they were all Fords, all brand new. None of them had license plates on them. And like, we see these cars like only a few times, but there were so many shots where it's just like very clear that there is no plate.
Yep.
Like, just borrowed it from dad's lot. Freebie.
Anything else we liked? I
can't think of the boys were cute. Back to Elizabeth's point, loved the German girl, whatever. She was great. She was hilarious and had so much energy. Wouldn't have stood out in any other movie except this one, where nobody's trying. Patrick, you got
I'm not going to comment on the physical appearances of actors in this movie, but I what I'll say is the one thing I liked is Andrew Rutkowski, and I'm pronouncing his name correctly now, right?
Mike,
fuck! God damn it,
Mike! Please come on the show, please. We're so sorry. We didn't know that.
Mike Rutkowski.
Yes.
Okay, I fucked it up the first time. I was saying the last name wrong. This time I got the first name completely wrong. He seems like a nice guy. I honestly feel really bad that we've just like savaged this whole thing.
Is he the director of Monsters Inc.?
No, that's Andrew. I think it's another. No, Andrew. Fuck. It doesn't
I thought
matter.
you were talking about the director of Monsters Inc. before.
No, that's a character, the lead character of Monsters Inc.
Directed by Pete Docter.
God.
Anyway.
The pop cultural knowledge in this group is so like fucked up.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
I like that you just assume that he's a nice guy because we looked at his Facebook for 2 seconds. He could be a fucking creepo. Who knows? We thought Kevin Spacey was a nice guy. The jury's not out on this Mike guy. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you know what? Let's get him on the show. I'm buying some emotional insurance right now in case Mike Rutkowski comes on the show and just registering that I feel sorry that we fucking savaged him.
If he comes on the show,
and I'm
we're
gonna hope that he fucking wrecks you when he comes on the show instead
he
of
can
me.
Wreck me any day.
We're going to find out if he's a nice guy, because if he comes on, we're going to ask him about his definition of consent.
Now he's definitely not coming on.
Well, all right. Enough said about that movie, I guess,
Oh,
right?
God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, listeners, next week our movie should be American Poltergeist 2. But I just can't fucking do it, and neither can anyone else. Now, I have no idea what this is about. I know it's not by the same director, so I'm curious, like, how would you guys approach a sequel to American Poltergeist? And then we'll see. Have any of you read
Back away slowly.
Have
That's
any
how
of
I'd
you read
approach
about it yet?
No,
No.
I didn't know it existed. Normally, I find these things on IMDb or whatever. No clue.
I would approach with extreme trepidation.
I feel really bad about this, but we didn't say how this movie ends. Does that matter?
No.
No.
Okay. So fine. Movie ends.
Does it matter to you? Is the
What
question.
matters
Like,
is
do
the
you-
guy who's Catholic, apparently, because he goes to like Young Life, is also an exorcist.
But he fails.
But he fails, and then like, the cop shows up to save the day, but instead gives the kid a gun to kill himself,
Which he does.
to protect and serve.
Lizzie Borden possesses the girl that is her relation.
Yeah, and then you think she's damned to like stay in the house, but instead the first thing they do is take her out of the house. And she's like,
It makes no sense.
yeah.
Well, as far as the sequel, I'd say hire a new director, and they've done that. Whoever
But
they is.
creatively, like story-wise.
I don't know, honestly, because this movie is so, like, the haunted house thing is just so hackneyed at this point that I can't think of a new way to do it.
I would say have 26 different vignettes of poltergeists haunting different houses.
ABC's
all over
Poltergeist.
America.
How about having an actual fucking poltergeist in the movie for starts? Write a poltergeist into
Yeah,
it.
it's going to have to be one of those sequels that's just kind of a spiritual successor more than a narrative successor.
It's gonna have to
No
be like
pun
an
intended,
aliens kind of situation.
I guess they just have a license to make any sort of ghost story and put it under the strong brand of the American Poltergeist franchise.
I think they should make a movie about the dog lady. I think that's pretty American.
American Poltergeist 3.
There's a trailer for one that's out now.
Oh, yeah, we should link to that in the show notes.
Maybe.
Viewers might be interested.
Anyway, we decided, though, to break it up because you might not want to hear us do the same thing again next week. We're introducing something new called the Wheel of Death. And we're breaking the order. Every fourth episode, we're breaking the order. We're going to spin the wheel, and one of us is going to get to pick a movie, and we're going to review that movie instead for our next episode. So every fifth episode is going to be a movie of our choice that's maybe a little farther down in the alphabet than we would typically get to. Maybe something that's been in our personal queue that we're eager to watch. And hopefully it'll add a little bit more fun to this whole endeavor.
Because none of us are having any fun at all.
We're having fun.
We're
but,
having
you know,
a
we
great time.
gotta,
This shit sucks.
we gotta keep morale
I'm
up
having a great
sometimes. So Elizabeth asked to spin the wheel the first time. So this is like the Wheel of Fortune, and it has our names are on it 4 times, and then there's 2 slots marked owner's closet, and if we end up in the owner's closet, we just have to watch the next movie that we would watch normally.
Because just putting our names on a wheel once a piece wouldn't accomplish the same purpose.
No, it wouldn't be as dramatic because like Wheel of Fortune, you see the thing. Hold on, wait.
Right, there are stakes here.
Yeah, like when it's on once, there's not that Wheel of Fortune moment where you think it's Patrick and then it switches to Elizabeth.
I was flying, now I'm sweating.
Okay, all right, here we go. I'm spinning the wheel. I'm spinning the wheel.
Okay, Elizabeth is going to spin the Wheel of Death for the very first time. Oh God!
It's spinning.
Oh God! What do we got?
It's spinning. It's
on the
slowing
left.
down.
The marker's on the left.
Oh my God, I hope it's me. Oh, I hope it's me. Oh, I hope it's me.
Oh,
Yes!
it's Elizabeth.
Congratulations.
Oh my God, we're watching The Astronaut's Wife.
Yes! That was my pick!
Yes!
Have any of you guys seen it?
Is that horror?
Yes.
Is that the Billy Bob Thornton movie?
No,
No, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron.
I'm so excited.
How is that horror?
You'll have to
I don't
watch
really know
and
anything
find
about
out.
it, but I didn't realize that was horror.
So none of you have seen it.
No.
I was a huge Johnny Depp fan at one point in my life, around the time this movie came out, and I just never got a chance to see it. I know it's really poorly reviewed, but the premise is fucking awesome.
I know. I can't wait.
I
what's
saw
the
it when
premise?
I was like 10, or like I saw it when it was on
you've seen
pay-per-view
it.
when it came out. Yeah.
So you remember it?
Well, so
I
it's like an
remember it a little
astronaut
bit.
comes back from a mission unrecognizable because he has some kind of alien force coursing through his veins, right? Something like that?
Something like
Something
that.
like that. I've never seen it.
All
so
right.
glad you picked that.
The Astronaut's Wife, everybody.
That's going to be great. All right, so join us next week. We're reviewing The Astronaut's Wife. Until then, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us reviews. Troll us a little. We'll troll you back.
It never gets old.
But until then, that's all for every horror movie on Netflix. For Chris, goodbye.
For Patrick Flying Dunn, good fly.
For Elizabeth, goodbye.
Are we doing the first Stephen goodbye, I guess? That just sounds so awkward. Why did we do it that way?
I don't know.
It's just over. It's done.